What's up, y'all? So I'm doing a video on aftermarket headers for the 350Z, G35, 370Z, and the G37. So it's not too many videos covering this topic for the VQ platform, considering the fact that aftermarket headers, though especially the high quality, well designed ones, cost at least $900. And also installing aftermarket headers, it is tough to do with the 350Z slash G35 and the other VQ models due to the limited amount of spacing in the engine bay. And that also results in a high labor cost installed if you choose to have a shop install it. And that's also why I did a video on aftermarket header installed 2 years ago. But anyway, with that being said, I just have to say that aftermarket headers have been one of my favorite mods done to my 350Z. And that's because, one, it changed how my car sounded significantly. At the time I was running just a Z1 single exhaust. The agency power resonated wide pipe and the Z1 test pipes with the stock headers. Oh, and by the way, if y'all look at the stock headers, especially for the VQ35DE engine rev up and non-rev up, you could tell how restrictive they are, especially when you add other mods to the car. So, which I'll get to that in a second. But anyway, with the sound on part, once I installed a set of high quality headers, it's like it made my car sound a lot more unique. You know that typical sound it be making, that rumble bumble sound y'all used to hearing. It's like with the aftermarket headers, it's a totally different sound tone. And a second thing is, after installing the headers, I noticed my car was making better power and the mid-range power, like really from, let's say, about as low as 2500 RPMs all the way to 6000 RPM. So basically I picked up quite a bit of gains. And I know people will say you don't make gains with aftermarket headers. You do. It's just with this mod, you might have to get the car retuned, especially if you're running other mods like test pipes or an intake mod combined. Like if once you combine that, that'll throw off the air to fuel ratio. But in my case, I didn't have to get my car retuned, and that's because of the fact that I'm also running the kinetics intake manifold along with the Z1 M-Spec cold air intake, which the car was retuned for originally. And with the aftermarket headers, the ECU was able to adapt to that. So I want to talk about 3 different brands. Now I know there's various brands that have made aftermarket headers for the 350Z, but I want to talk about 3 brands in particular. One of them is the Tomei headers. Now Tomei had 2 different versions. One of them had the unequal length headers. If I could find that, I'll post it up. And then they got the version 2, which is the equal length header. So now what I like about the Tomei headers is if you go on their website and if you type down the information for the 350Z engine, they give you like they give you actual details on how the headers are designed and the type of gains it will get. So that, and then the other thing with the Tomei headers, you get quite a few other little amenities like exhaust wrap to wrap the headers. Cause trust me, with aftermarket headers, that really makes the engine hot. That unless you get them heat treated like I did it with my set of headers. So, but anyway, they give you other little stuff like the exhaust wrap, a heat shield, I think a exhaust gasket too. It's a few other little stuff. So, but y'all get the picture. So that's so if it's anything I from from Tomei in regards to an exhaust, it'll be the headers. So that's one of the brands. The second brand, and this is the one that's currently on my car still, is Z1 Motorsport headers. Now these headers have a history of its own. These headers were originally designed by this other company slash shop named Momentum Performance, who's no longer in business, but that's who originally designed it. And it was also designs in regards to it was designed to fit their single turbocharger kit. So that's also the reason why they designed the header. So long story short, that company went out of business, and Z1 Motorsports bought the naming rights and was able to continue on with the production all the way to now. And also the Furious 370Z and G37 owners are going with those headers as well. So that's why it's been a high demand with the Z1 headers. So now the reason I chose Z1 over Tomei headers is because of one, the primary pipes are 1.75 inches versus 1.65 inches for the Tomei. That's one reason. The second reason is the merge for the Z1 headers, like where the pipes merge. The merge for the Z1 headers is better than the merge for the Tomei header. So that's the second reason. And third, and that's also a significant reason. My buddy who has a 350Z, who is which is Jello Field, aka Devin. Now he was running those headers, and I've actually got a chance to hear his car in person when I was at the ZCon event 2 years ago at Road Atlanta. He was running the same type of the same single exit exhaust I used to run, and based on how his car sounded, I wanted my car to sound different from his car. So that's the other reason why I switched with Z1 headers. So that's the second one. Now the third brand is PPE Engineering headers. Now this company has a history of its own too. Now this company primarily makes headers for Lexus-based vehicles like the V6 as well as V8 rear-wheel drive cars, but they also make them for the 350Z and 370Z. Now for the 350Z, I noticed there are two different versions. One of them is for I guess the 350Z with the non-rev up engine, and then the other version is for the 350Z rev up or HR engine. Now let me break it down why there are two different versions. The version for the non-rev up, and that's really pertaining power curve. The non-rev up version, there are the non-step versions. Basically, they remain at 1.75 inches. And by the way, these are long tube headers. And what that does with the non-step header design, that actually gives you better mid-range. It's built for mid-range gains, so you may not necessarily get the peak gain, but you'll get more the better gains in the, let's say, 2,500 to 6,000 RPM range, which is so. And then the other version, where are the step versions where they start off at 1.75 inches for the primary, which move up to a 1.8 diameter primary pipes. Now, what that design does, it sacrifices some of that mid-range gains for mid to top end gains. Like basically, those are made to make horsepower above, to make the gains above 5,000 RPM. Especially, and also consider the fact that the rev up and non-rev up, HR engines have a higher rev limiter, so that's the other reason why they made those headers. So those are your top three brands in regards to the 350Z and G35 for aftermarket headers. Now, for anybody still looking to do headers but not willing to spend the money on getting one of those brands, I recommend a couple of options. One of them is the ISR long tube headers. Now they are step like the a step design like the PV design headers for the 350Z with the HR engine. So now these headers, they were primarily made for the 350Z, but they also fit the 370Z. So various 370Z owners been and going with that design as well as the G37 owners. So you could pretty much find those between like $500 to $600 at the most, depending on who you buy it from. So that's one of the options. The other option is, if it's still available, is the DC Sport short tube headers for anybody that still want a short tube header or test pipe or high flow cat combo setup. So, and those headers also cost around like $500, and also they give you two different designs. One of them is a mild steel coated version, and the other is stainless steel version. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So with that being said, I'm gonna end this video.